Part 75. My green plums are super sweet. Author, Luke Ixie. Chapter 741. Chapter 741. A little itchy. The first person she saw when she was most critical and frightened was Yezikin. At that time, his white and smooth cheeks looked particularly beautiful against the slanting sunlight. Just like the prince in the fairy tale. Yet is the only one who relies on this belief and keeps pestering Yezikin for a hug. Yezikin refused, so he turned his back to her. At that time, the only person in the night was a ghost elf. She thought, wouldn't you hug him? Then carry it? The moment this thought flashed through his mind, Ye took the opportunity to climb onto Yezikin's back. In fact, Yezikin, who just wanted to rest, lay down his gun innocently, and was stuck by the little guy for a long time. So, the first time they met, it was considered acquaintance, they carried each other, hugged each other, and then Yezikin walked with Ye on his back. His steps were heavy but steady. Ye leaned on his shoulder and felt very at ease. After a while, she felt a little itchy on her face. I scratched it with my hands and thought it was summer mosquitoes that were causing trouble. Brother, please put me down, let's walk faster, there seems to be a mosquito biting me here, it's very itchy. After listening to Ye's words, Yezikin put her down as expected. Yezikin's body is not suitable for strenuous exercise. She can walk with her on her back, but it is not possible for two people to walk as fast as flying together. Ye was tickling while walking on the road. Originally, one of her hands and Yezikin were holding each other, but after a while, her hands began to have no time to scratch. At first, she didn't see any traces of mosquito bites on her face, but gradually, she felt itching more and more. When she used her two hands to scratch the itch again, Yezikin tightly held her hands tightly. Don't scratch the itch, you will scratch your face. But it's so itchy. Just be patient, we'll go down right away. There is no cable car in the middle of the mountain road, and they have already walked most of the way. Going back would be a longer journey, so they can only continue going down. Because of the itching on their faces, the two of them sped up and quickly arrived at the parking spot. At this moment, through the street light, I could see red marks gradually appearing on Ye's face, especially around her nose, which looked a bit serious. Yezikin frowned and told her cautiously and seriously, Xiao Lingdang, I'll drive, but you have to promise not to scratch your face, okay? Ye nodded. It could be seen from the tangled expression on her face that she was really enduring the pain. Because he was anxious, Yezikin didn't dare to stay too long, so he started the car and drove away in the dust. Adopting the principle of proximity, Yezikin's car drove to the nearest hospital. Ye clasped her fingers completely behind her back, because she was afraid that she would make a move if she couldn't help it. The car stopped in an open-air parking lot near the hospital. Yezikin held her chin with one hand and took a closer look. Originally I thought it was a mosquito bite, but there were no pink pimples on her face at all. Instead, it looked like red spots due to allergies. Brother, what's wrong with me? Don't be afraid, it's okay, Yezikin comforted her. After getting out of the car, Yezikin held her hands to ensure that she could not scratch them at will. Just after they left, a woman wearing black clothes and a peaked cap slowly walked out and stood next to where they parked. She turned her left hand over, and there were several nails of medium and small sizes between her fingers. Hands down on the peaked cap, the woman's face was filled with a smile of success. This mysterious bad woman definitely didn't appear for no reason, think about it. End of this chapter. My green plums are super sweet. Author, Luke Ixie. Chapter 742. Chapter 742. She is poisoned. When did this reaction begin? I just came down from the star observation cliff. Did I get bitten by some poisonous mosquito? Does not look like. The doctor, wearing a white coat and sitting on the chair, asked some questions about the symptoms on Ye Wei's face as usual and quickly took notes. Ye Wei asked, "What's going on? I'm so itchy." Ye Wei was a little anxious, and the hand he just stretched out was pulled back by Yezikin. "Check her," Yezikin said calmly, as if he was instructing the doctor. It seemed that he was the medical boss. The doctor really should have examined Ye Wei. He stared at Ye Wei's face and then tried to apply some mild and non-irritating ointment to Ye Wei, but the itching sensation was not suppressed. After struggling for a long time, the doctor told them, "Sorry, our department here specializes in treating skin. The implication is that they can't see it here, and we strongly recommend that you change places." "Ah, am I serious?" The doctor couldn't tell, and there was no response to the medicine, which made Ye Wei even more frightened. This kind of fear is not cowardice. But it's more terrifying than timidity. Which girl doesn't care about her face? What's more, she has good looks in her own right. Ye Wei was even more nervous, she was scared to death. Yezikin understood the doctor's words, gave the doctor a sharp look in his eyes, and remembered the name tag hanging on the white coat. "But now is not the time to pursue the case." "Brother, will I be disfigured?" "What nonsense are you talking about? I'm here, don't worry." Yezikin didn't dare to delay any longer, so he contacted Guchensi directly when he came out. After confirming that Guchensi would join him, he took Ye Wei to Guchensi's home. Although Guchensi and Ye Wei usually couldn't talk freely when they met, Guchensi did his best when it came to serious matters like this. Guchensi took one look and said, "It's poisoned." Yezikin once again roughly described the two people's experience at Stargazing Cliff tonight. Both of them thought it was a mosquito bite, but Guchensi shook his head after hearing these words, "It's not a mosquito bite." "Did you touch something, eat something, smell something?" "I promise I didn't eat randomly. The food I cooked at home today was very healthy and nutritious. I didn't touch any dirty things at will." "What have you smelled?" "Smell? She didn't even touch the food, so what could she smell?" Just when Ye Wei was about to answer no, Yezikin rushed to meet her and said, "She didn't go out today. The food at home is safe. I just touched it and smelled it when delivering flowers in the afternoon." Meaning, the difference from usual is that I received the roses and smelled the roses. These key points made Guchensi feel instinctive doubts and asked, "Where are the flowers?" "It's still in the car, I'll get it." When Yezikin went to get the flowers, Guchensi began to treat Ye Wei. Guchensi said it was poisoning, but they didn't understand where the poison came from. After the roses were held, Guchensi checked briefly and still found nothing wrong. Why is this happening? For a moment, none of them thought about this problem. People are more important. Guchensi quickly prepared medicine for Ye Wei. He first steamed her face with hot water and then applied ointment to let her eliminate the toxins that invaded her face. Apply it first and see the effect after 15 minutes. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. My green plums are super sweet. Author, Lukixi. Chapter 743. Chapter 743. What should I do if my face is disfigured? 15 minutes later, Ye Wei wiped off the ointment on his face. The red spots were still obvious on his face. No effect. Yezikin frowned even more when he saw that her face had not changed. However, Yezi patted his cheek very lightly with his washed and disinfected palms, and happily told Yezikin, "My face doesn't seem to be itchy anymore." After using the ointment prepared by Guchensi, it was really effective. Ye Wei's face no longer itched, and the erythema was only near the nose and did not develop in other directions. Even so, as a girl who loves beauty, she was still worried. "I've never had an allergic reaction on my face and it was just scary as hell." "Don't be afraid, I'm always here. Guchensi said it was poisoning. What if I am really disfigured and ugly? First, I won't make you ugly. Second, answer within the scope of your if, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. The implication is that no matter what she is like, she is still beautiful in Yezikin's eyes. Ye Wei was talking to Yezikin about his grievances and anxiety. Yezikin patiently coaxed and comforted her with a gentle voice. The harmonious scene was really picturesque. Only Guchensi stood at the door and said two words with a sneer, "Ha ha. Still so showy in his territory? Don't you need to consider the feelings of an old man who has been single for 30 years? It seems that these two people who shamelessly show affection should be driven out." Even though Guchensi usually has a keep away from strangers' face as cold as an iceberg, a 30-year-old single man is quite bored. Guchensi passed by a door where there was a bouquet of roses, the same 99 roses that Yezikin took out of the car just now. From the outside, the packaging looks exquisite and it is a good product. Most girls like it. But if you look closely, the pink roses are beginning to wither. Fresh real flowers will indeed slowly wither, but it will definitely not change like this. Pink rose petals turn black. Guzikin checked the roses again and found that there were other things in the pollen. Guchensi picked off the petals and took them for inspection. As for Yayoi, according to Chen 11's instructions, he applied medicine to Yayoi every hour for 3 times in a row. After using it 3 times, my face feels very refreshed and comfortable. It's a pity that the red spots on Yewei's face still haven't disappeared. But they have seen results after applying the medicine, and Yewei feels better. After struggling until midnight, Yezikin coaxed Yewei to fall asleep. After that, he went to see Guchensi, who told him about the changes in rose flower and asked him to be more vigilant. This flower has been tampered with. What are you using? A disfiguring poison. That poison makes people itchy. If the medicine doesn't work, spots will appear on the face. If the face is scratched due to itching, it will be disfigured. Such a vicious thing cannot be a coincidence. Another explanation is, someone did it on purpose. Yezikin investigated this matter and learned that Secretary Zhao went to the flower shop alone to pick up the roses this afternoon. Yezikin asked about the specific situation of the roses. Secretary Zhao was afraid that he would be punished and did not dare to say anything. But Yezikin is very good at psychological warfare. After a while, Secretary Zhao honestly explained what happened today. I want the surveillance records of that place, including the flower shop. End of this chapter. My green plums are super sweet. Author, Lukixi. Chapter 744. Chapter 744 The Empress of the Palace. Although Secretary Zhao made a mistake, his work efficiency was still very high, and he quickly sent the video that Yezikin needed. Yezikin checked the video very quickly. He put the two videos together for comparison, and finally the camera focused on a woman wearing black clothes. The woman's figure looked slender, and she was not a familiar person in my memory. The woman ran very fast after bumping into Secretary Zhao, but later she appeared in the flower shop, and Yezikin discovered all her little moves to deliberately hide herself. He knew at a glance that there was a secret hidden in this woman. Follow this clue and investigate. The next morning, Ye Wei woke up and found that the red spots on his face had faded a lot. She happily ran to share the good news with Yezikin, but did not find Yezikin. Ye Wei couldn't wait to apply the ointment Guchensi prepared for her yesterday. As soon as the medicine was applied here, Yezikin opened her door. He was carrying a food box in his hand, and it seemed that he was going to buy food. This millet porridge will not affect your face. Thank you, brother. After making sure that the red spots on his face would disappear soon, Ye Wei was in a good mood and promised to thank Guchensi this time. She insisted on taking the medicine, and on the third day the erythema had almost disappeared. Ye Wei couldn't help but praise Guchensi. Dr. Gu, you are so amazing. This sentence was posted by her in the group. There are only a few people in that group, including Ye Weiwei, Yezikan, Nangang Luo, Gongkin Li, Gu Jinsi, Gu Li, and Mi Kexing, who is not common but often chats in the group. So the only time this news was sent out that night, many people saw it. They all knew that Ye Weiwei and Gu Jinsi were at odds, but tonight Ye Weiwei actually praised Gu Jinsi with a hint of admiration. This was incredible. This is simply big news and major news within the group. As her good sister, Gongkin Li was the first to reply. What did Dr. Gu do? Actually, such sincere appreciation came from Ye Weiwei's mouth. Because this is a friend group, enclosure is cute, so Ye Weiwei did not shy away from telling everyone about the poisoning on his face. Gongkin Li's first reaction was to explode. What? Your face was poisoned. Is it serious? Are you feeling better now? Oh yes, you are feeling better now. Then you are balabala. In short, Gongkin Li asked her about the reason for the poisoning, but she really didn't know. Gongkin Li's second reaction was to start acting like a nymphomaniac, echoing Yezikan's words in the group and praising Dr. Gu all over the world. Others are also concerned about Ye Weiwei. In addition to concern, it also caused some other topics. Nangang Luo always quarreled with Gongkin Li, and that silly boy Gu Li actually shouted in the group, "Don't bully my sister-in-law." When Gu Li yelled like this, who doesn't know the meaning? Gongkin Li was so happy that a smile appeared on her face. But Nangang Luo was so angry that his face turned black, and he immediately printed out a copy of Gu Li's math score and sent it to Gu's house. Gu Li's other subjects are pretty good, but math is a bit confusing. Gongkin Li likes to tease Gu Li in the group, because sometimes Gu Li will suddenly pop up and call her sister-in-law, feeling that she is the empress of the palace. Gongkin Li once again wanted to take advantage of Gu Jinsi verbally, but as soon as Gu Li sent such a message, the administrator withdrew it, and the person who withdrew it was none other than Nangang Luo. Nangang Luo, are you sick? End of this chapter. My green plums are super sweet. Author, Lu Kixi. Chapter 745. Chapter 745 Inviting Li Yulai to watch a movie. Nangang Luo, are you sick? The matter of Gu Li calling Gongkin Li's sister-in-law happened right under Nangang Luo's nose. How could he still hold back? Of course not. I didn't expect that Gongkin Li would directly confront him in the group. Nangang Luo was angry and didn't reply. He turned off his phone and kept his eyes out of sight. Mrs. Nangang came over with a stack of photos, sat down next to him, and called her son with a smile on her face, "Son, please take a look at these photos to see if there is any girl who suits your eyes." Mrs. Nangang has recently collected photos of girls from various families in S city and even the neighboring city who are of the same age as Nangang Luo. It's like an emperor's talent show. All of them are good looking and have unparalleled talents. Speaking seriously, it is true that they are good looking. After all, Mrs. Nangang felt that those who were not good looking would bring down the appearance of the next generation of their Nangang family, so she filtered some of them based on their appearance. Most of these young ladies from well-known aristocrats will develop an interest that they are good at since they were young, and they can be regarded as having talents. In short, the ones Mrs. Nangang picked out are pretty good. However, Nangang Luo didn't like any of them. Mrs. Nangang sighed again and again, "Every time I ask you to go on a blind date, you always push me back. Are you still thinking about that girl from the Gong family?" Nangang Luo denied, "Mom, I just want to be free and want to be free. It has nothing to do with others. Come on, if there is a photo of Li Yulai girl here, can you not choose it?" Nangang Luo shut up instantly. Mrs. Nangang poked his shoulder, "You are my son. How can I know what you are thinking? Li Yulai is indeed good. If you can get married, both our families will be happy. It's a pity that other people's thoughts are not there, you hear. Son, It's not that mom deliberately hit you, but you can't force things like feelings. You two have been together for so many years, can't you still recognize it clearly? The implication is that if we haven't liked each other for so many years, how can we suddenly fall in love with him in the future? What's more, Gong Kin Lee still has someone she likes. Listen to my mother's advice. She is not stopping you from being together, but she hopes that my son can be treated sincerely and be happy for the rest of his life. Mrs. Nangong's persuasive words made Nangong Luo's heart heavy. After pondering for a moment, Nangong Luo still rejected Mrs. Nangong's intention. Mom, I have a sense of propriety. Mrs. Nangong shook her head, took out 2 movie tickets from her back and handed them to Nangong Luo. These are 2 tickets given to me by my friend. After Mrs. Nangong left, Nangong Luo turned his phone over and saw that there were many messages popping up on the screen, all of which were filled by one person. Why? Hey. Nangong Luo. Nangong bastard. Brother Luo. I'm sorry, I was wrong, Kakovo. By the way, I also included some cute pictures. Nangong Luo quickly replied with a few words. My mother just urged me to work hard, but I failed to reply to the message. I really neglected my Princess Li Yulai. Please forgive me. Gong Kin Li was probably staring at her phone, and then she replied instantly, Hey, if I had told you earlier, I thought you were really so stingy and angry. It scared me to death. Are you afraid that I will be angry? Haha, are you afraid? If it doesn't make sense, just give me a beating. You are too violent, Kak. You're a boy, what are you doing? It's shameful to act cute. A few words reconciled the two. Nangong Luo rubbed the movie tickets in his palms, his heart beating a little faster. Lu Li, my mother gave me 2 tickets so that I could watch the movie with my girl and take photos for her. How about you support me once? End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. My green plums are super sweet. Author, Lu Kixi. Chapter 746. Chapter 746. I won't let you run away with the wild man. I heard that my aunt has been looking for a girlfriend for you, don't you like it? I like you. Nangong Luo blurted out these words, but he was typing them in text and sending them to Gong Kin Li. Gong Kin Li. Her reaction when hearing this sentence was not excitement, fear, or guilt, but, as if there were 3 question marks above her head. Nangong Luo, have you been itchy lately? You actually dare to tease me. Well, no one believes the truth these days. Just with this sighing tone, Gong Kin Li could automatically imagine Nangong Luo's funny expression at the moment. She was actually laughing, but her reply on QQ was particularly violent. If you keep talking nonsense, I'll blow your head off. So the noble and beautiful Princess Li Yulai is willing to watch a movie to relieve my worries. I, the Queen, have carefully considered this. If I help you once, I will treat it as a good deed every day. As commanded. After making an appointment with Gong Kin Li, the expression on Nangong Luo's face clearly changed from the previous one. And Gong Kin Li seemed to be in a good mood. At this time, the little cousin who was a guest at the Gong family suddenly ran over, pointed at Gong Kin Li's face, and laughed several times. Sister Li Yulai, you laugh so lustfully. Gong Kin Li laughed. Ha, no wonder you failed the final exam and came to my house. Do you understand the meaning of this idiom? Xiao Zhengtai raised her chin high and said proudly, of course I understand. Sister Li Yulai must be on the phone with her brother-in-law to act like this. Gong Kin Li. Her cousin has been a living treasure since he was a child. The 5 or 6-year-old naughty kid calls Nangong Luo brother-in-law when he sees him. Now 6 years later, the naughty kid has grown up to be a young lady, and his words are getting more and more to the point. Gong Kin Li can't resist him. First, because this little cousin is the only male of the Gong family's generation and is very precious, Second, because they have a good relationship. Although they are at odds with each other on the surface, they regard each other as close relatives in their hearts. So it doesn't matter if you curse a few times, but don't dare to take it seriously. The little cousin is very naughty and likes to make fun of her and Nangong Luo. She even calls Nangong Luo brother-in-law happily. Gong Qinli resisted the urge to slap him in the face, put her hands on her hips and let out a domineering roar, "Gong Zizai, get out of the way and cool off." Unexpectedly, as soon as she finished speaking, another strong female voice bombarded Her Majesty like a cannonball, "Gong Qinli, who are you trying to scare? Have you ever done this to your cousin? Believe it or not, I will kill you. Go to the corner and cool down." Gong Qinli pinched her ears and immediately surrendered, "Mom, I was wrong. Like son then like mother." She is so carefree that she sometimes acts like a spoiled brat and sometimes explodes on the spot, all because she inherited it from her mother. Not daring to argue with her mother, Gong Qinli had no choice but to admit defeat. Gong Qinli commanded in a low voice, "Gong Zizai, hurry up and let's play." The little cousin clicked his tongue and shook his head, "You already call me Zizai. I have to stay by your side even if it's a waste of time. Gong Zizai is the nickname of my little cousin. My little cousin has been naughty since he was a child, and his parents were so angry that they chased people with whips and called him Xiao Zizai, so the nickname Gong Zizai came out." Gong Qinli was afraid of being pestered, so she said something serious, "I want to go out and watch a movie." "Who are you going with?" "Gong Qinli." "Little cousin, why are you looking so serious and alert? Children don't need to know so much." "But my brother-in-law said he couldn't let the man you followed run away." End of this chapter. My green plums are super sweet. Author, Lu Kixi. Chapter 747. Chapter 747. Love is a light, so green that you shine. When did Nangong Luo teach you to say such things? When Gong Qinli acknowledged Nangong Luo's status as brother-in-law, the little cousin suddenly took a step back. Ahem. I saw my little cousin tilting his head and squinting forward. Gong Qinli looked along and saw Gu Jinsi passing by the corridor next to him. Gong Qinli immediately stood up straight and took 2 steps forward. He raised one hand and waved to Gu Jinsi to say hello to him. But Gu Jinsi didn't seem to see them and turned a blind eye to them. He walked by without even squinting his eyes. Gong Qinli felt as if tens of thousands of grass and mud horses were running through her heart at that time. "Gong Zizai, my brother-in-law said he couldn't let the man you followed run away." "Gong Qinli, when did Nangong Luo teach you to say such things? Doesn't the linking of these 2 sentences mean that Nangong Luo is Gong Zizai's brother-in-law? This relationship is indeed a huge misunderstanding. It was entirely because Gong Zizai's call of brother-in-law to Nangong Luo was deeply rooted in people's hearts and memories. No matter how she corrected her, she couldn't do it, so she developed the habit of answering. Gong Qinli intertwined her fingers and fisted, with a fierce look in her eyes, "Gong Zizai, you are going to kill me. If I can't chase the man I like, I will kill you." These harsh words did not scare Gong Zizai at all. Gong Zizai started to use idioms randomly again. "Sister Liulai, do you want Hong Xin to cheat on you?" Gong Qinli silently raised a hand, and the slightly curved finger almost hit Gong Zizai on the head. I heard Gong Zizai start talking nonsense again. "Love is a light, so green that you shine. If you want to live a decent life, you must always have a little green on your head." Gong Qinli took a deep breath and gritted her teeth to hold back the sinful act of wanting to catch Gong Zizai, hang her up and beat her. Gong Qinli followed the route Gu Jinsi took and saw Gu Jinsi chatting with his father. Although the Gu family has been studying medicine for generations, their job is not only to study medicine, but also needs to deal with some business matters. Gong Qinli quietly walked around to the back of the sofa and squatted down. She could clearly hear the conversation between the two, but she was confused and didn't understand it very well. Tired from squatting, she simply sat down on the floor tiles. Suddenly, the person in front became silent. Gong Qinli pressed one hand on the back of the sofa and tried hard to put her ears out to listen. I knew a not so familiar but very unique man's voice sounded from above my head. "What are you doing here?" Gong Qinli looked up and looked at each other with the condescending Gu Jinsi. About 3 seconds later, Ye Wei had already pressed his head hard. At this moment, even her father, Mr. Gong, was so angry that he felt distressed. "What are you doing? You are so embarrassed in front of the guests, why don't you get up quickly?" Mr. Gong has a good face and loves his daughter at home. However, when there are guests around, Mr. Gong becomes a little uncontrollable. Gong Qinli's mind raced and she came up with an excuse. "I dropped something on the ground and can't find it, forget it." Seeing that she was exposed, Gong Qinli didn't bother to hide. She stood up and sat down directly next to her, listening quietly to her father discussing business matters with Gu Jinsi. Gong Qinli took this opportunity to observe Gu Jinsi up close, and secretly took a photo and sent it to the group. Because she made sure that Gu Jinsi would not play with his mobile phone now, she dared to do something in the group. The operation was as fierce as a tiger's. Looking back, only Gu Li was cheering. Gu Li poked her privately and said, "My brother is going on a blind date today. Sister-in-law, please pay attention." End of this chapter. My green plums are super sweet. Author, Lu Kixi. Chapter 748. Chapter 748 Dr. Bingshan Gu wants to go on a blind date. What, Gu Jinsi is going on a blind date? Gong Qinli put many exclamation marks when replying to the message. Gu Li quietly revealed the news. Gu Jinsi is going to have a blind date with a well-known lady at a high-end French restaurant tonight. They are not young, and Gu Jinsi has been running for 3 years. Those of them who play well are all very well behaved, and none of them, who are in their 20s, even gave away their first love, which makes me sad just thinking about it. Isn't this the case that the family is starting to get anxious? Gong Qinli glanced angrily at the unblinking Bingshan in front of her, then slipped back into the room and started tormenting herself. Nonsense! It is to dress yourself up. Her wardrobe is very large, with countless styles of clothes. It took her more than 10 minutes to choose a bright red dress to wear, and she also applied exquisite makeup. The eyeliner is gently drawn upward at the end of the eye, and the overall feeling becomes delicate and charming. In short, if you dress up like this on a date, you will definitely make your boyfriend blind. But it's a pity that she didn't go on a date, but to ruin the blind date meeting of the man she liked. I really don't understand why this Gu Jinsi is willing to go on a blind date, but why he won't look at me more. While Gong Qinli was trying on clothes with a full-length mirror piled up in her room, she kept mumbling about Gu Jinsi's lack of discernment. Because of Gu Jinsi's attitude, she felt a little unconfident many times. Is it because she is not beautiful enough? Or are you not old enough to be a good match for Gu Jinsi? Wait, I will blind you tonight. Gong Qinli hummed and smiled proudly. When Gu Jinsi left the Gong family, Gong Qinli did not see him off because she wanted to hide her current appearance to ensure that the surprise would be perfect. Gong Qinli stood in front of her windowsill and saw Gu Jinsi getting into the car. Soon after, the car flew away with dust. Gong Qinli started searching on Baidu, how to ruin a blind date between a man you like and another woman. This topic is a bit confusing, and Gong Qinli certainly doesn't know what's going on. So Gong Qinli posted this question on the forum while she had nothing to do. Soon, the question became popular. Everyone is trying to come up with ideas, and 78 out of 10 people say, if anyone is disobedient, just give him a good beating. Such a naughty guy, it's a pity that she didn't dare to hit Gu Jinsi because she couldn't bear to do it. Well, the main reason is because her figure is not equal to Gu Jinsi's, so she can't beat him. She is still a police academy student, which is really embarrassing. Unsure of the specific time Guchensi had made an appointment with his blind date, Gong Qinli lingered at home for a while and then went out directly. Because Gu Li was there to reveal the little information, Gong Qinli easily got the address of the blind date place in Chinsi. When she first arrived at the French restaurant, a few words suddenly flashed through her mind. Forgot the specific content of those words and couldn't think too much about it at the moment. Just when she was about to enter the restaurant, she suddenly received a text message from Nangong Luo. "Are you ready?" Nangong Luo was asking her if she was ready. Mrs. understood Zayn, and Gong Qinli remembered. Oops, why did I forget that I agreed to watch a movie with Nangong Luo today? What to do? And you can only choose one of the two. Gong Qinli stood there and thought for a while, then called Nangong Luo first. "Luo, there's an emergency tonight, I can't go to the movies with you." End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. My green plums are super sweet. Author, Lu Kixi. Chapter 749. Chapter 749 Unspeakable Love. What happened? Do you need help? No, I'll probably delay watching the movie, and I'm afraid I won't be able to go. It doesn't matter, there's still more than an hour left, I'll wait for you. I think I can catch up in more than an hour, but I can't guarantee it. Luo, please make some second-hand preparations first. That's a lot of trouble, I'll just wait for you. Okay, I'll try my best, I won't tell you now, bye. Gong Qinli simply hung up the call. Nangong Luo couldn't help laughing when he heard her whirring voice. This girl has always done things like this, so it doesn't matter if he waits. Brother, buy a bouquet of flowers. Kid, I don't need flowers. Brother, you are standing here alone with 2 movie tickets in your hands, you are obviously waiting for someone, or are you waiting for your girlfriend? If you buy a bunch for your girlfriend, she will be very happy. Nowadays, teenage children have become ghosts and spirits. When they speak in a conversation, their logic is clear and it touches people's hearts. Nangong Luo immediately took out her wallet, looked at the flower seeds in her flower basket, and said, "I want all the sunflowers." The child sells flowers not just to make money. She also told Nangong Luo kindly, "Brother, sunflowers represent silent love, and roses are more suitable for giving to girlfriends. Roses represent passionate love, while sunflowers represent unspeakable love. Giving it to your girlfriend, of course, roses are the best." But Nangong Luo shook his head and smiled, "Kid, thank you for your kindness, but I want sunflowers." Okay, the child gave all the sunflowers in the basket to Nangong Luo, and said very wittily, "I wish my brother a happy date with your girlfriend." Nangong Luo felt happy after hearing this, and looked down at the sunflower in his hand with great joy. Sunflowers represent silent love and chasing the sun. His Princess Li Yulai is sunshine. But Nangong Luo didn't know that Gong Qinli hung up the phone because she saw Guchensi. Guchensi really came here to have a blind date with a woman. The two were talking face to face. Guchensi had a cold face as always, but the woman always had a faint smile on her face. The expression was like this, but they kept talking. No, Gong Qinli squeezed her phone tightly, unwilling to believe what she saw. The iceberg like Guchensi talks to people like gold, but now he talks with a woman. It is estimated that the impression of that woman is good. Or, satisfied. How is this possible? If the conversation continues, wouldn't this blind date be a success? We cannot allow them to develop. Gong Qinli brushed her arms and looked down at her outfit. She thought it was pretty good. She stood up, straightened her spine, patted her chest, exhaled, and walked directly in the direction of Guchensi. "Dr. Gu, what a coincidence, you come here to eat too." This common way of greeting can be used anywhere. It was this greeting that attracted the attention of both Guchensi and the woman opposite him. I heard Gongkinli say again, "It's nice to meet an acquaintance. You two are here, why don't we share a table?" Gongkinli is a student in the police academy. She has an out-of-the-box personality and her words are more spiritual, hee. She is not thin-skinned, and she is not shy at all when she takes the initiative to help others. It was the woman who took the initiative to ask, "Who is this?" Gongkinli blinked directly at Guchensi. Guchensi had a cold face, but did not drive Gongkinli away. He just explained her identity as a friend. Please vote, leave messages, and give rewards, and consider making Lugo happy. End of this chapter. My green plums are super sweet. Author, Lukixi. Chapter 750. Chapter 750, Broken Appointment at the Cinema. Gongkinli just joined Guchensi's blind date team in such a grand manner. Gongkinli took a closer look at the woman opposite Guchensi, and saw that she had smooth skin, good looks, and full of charm in every move she made. She is a woman full of intellectual beauty. Let me introduce myself, my name is Bai Junruo. Bai Junruo. When Gongkinli first heard the name, she felt it sounded familiar. It seemed that she had heard this name from someone before, but she couldn't remember it for a while. She just felt that she was overthinking it. Hide away the complexity in her heart, Gongkinli also extended her hand to say hello to her. "Hello, my name is Gongkinli." Gongkinli originally thought she was going to have a psychological war with Miss Bai, but what she didn't expect was that since she sat down here, Miss Bai started chatting with her. Looks like there is no sense of danger at all when a love rival attacks. Bai Junruo has a kind of charm that makes people feel unpredictable, but they also believe that she is not someone with evil intentions. After a few questions, Gongkinli had already relaxed her guard. At the beginning, they were polite and said some unrealistic things, but then for some reason they mentioned Gongkinli's police academy. As the flower of the police academy, Gongkinli's life in school is definitely not boring. On the contrary, she lives a colorful life. Bai Junruo is a very rational woman, and everything she says is thought through her brain. But when she heard the interesting things from Gongkinli's mouth later, even her thoughts were taken away. "Really, your instructors are so cute." "What's so cute?" "Our instructor is simply a devil." "Is it okay to be a devil?" "Cuteness doesn't suit him." "I think it's really cute, especially the things he does." "Ruruo, you have a unique taste." The relationship between women is very strange. They may become angry with each other, or they may become good friends with just one sentence. Gongkinli and Bai Junruo belong to the latter group. At first, they returned Miss Gong to Miss Bai, but then Gongkinli clapped her hands and said, "Miss Gong, listen to the ink, just call me Li Yulai." Then the two of them called each other directly into the names of friends, Li Yulai and Ruruo. Guchensi sat there with a normal expression and drank a pot of warm tea. But Bai Junruo and Gongkinli seemed to have lost sight of him. 10 minutes after the movie started, Nangong Luo entered the scene alone with the sunflower in his hand. The ticket inspectors looked at him a few times. That man just now was so handsome. I'm looking at the 2 tickets he's holding in his hand to see if they've been given away. Someone behind him thought he was muttering quietly, but Nangong Luo, who had an excellent ear, heard him. He didn't know what Gongkinli was doing and was afraid of disturbing him, so he didn't dare to call rashly. However, the message he sent to Gongkinli didn't get a reply. An hour and a half later, Nangong Luo also walked out of the movie hall alone. He did not leave, but waited next to the cinema. One of the movie ticket stubs in my hand has been crumpled into a ball, but the other complete movie ticket is still intact. Many people passing by saw a handsome guy standing there. Seeing that he looked lonely, no one dared to disturb him. Time passed bit by bit, and he didn't know how long he had waited. But he did not contact Gongkinli. It's not that he's not worried, but because, he already knows the reason. On the mobile phone, in the conversation window with Guli, there are a few words that are particularly obvious. Sister Liuli is so handsome. You really ruined my brother's blind date party. Welfare group fans whose fan value is required to be 2,000 disciples or above can join the book club, 1450160019. Kaibeo who meets the conditions can find the manager 3.5 years old in the book club group for review and verification, and then join the welfare group. Please join the group and ask for details, there are many benefits. End of this chapter.